I don't usually wear a lot of things on my hands or wrists. I don't have very many watches, bracelets, rings, different things like that. Every once in a while I'll switch it up, and if I'm going to a special event or a party or something like that, then yeah, I'll throw a watch on, but for the most part, my wrist remains pretty naked. But a few weeks ago, this company, pronounced JORD, reached out to me and they asked me to review one of their watches. There's two reasons that I wanted to do this. The first one is that watches have kind of been on my mind recently. Back in December, one of my brothers got married, and as part of the wedding, my dad bought all of his son's tailored suits. And something the tailor said as he was taking everybody's measurements kind of piqued my interest. He said that for most people, the first thing that their eyes are drawn to when they see someone in a suit is their watch and their shoes. Now, I don't really know why that's the case. You would think that if they're wearing a custom tailored suit that their eyes would be drawn to the suit. But for whatever reason, our eyes are drawn to the shoes and the watch. So I was thinking, maybe I should get a watch for the wedding. Well, I didn't get a watch for the wedding. My wrist was as naked that day as it is today. But it got me thinking about it. The second reason is that JORD is actually a pretty unique company in my opinion. All of their watches have wooden bands, so it kind of caught my eye. And then some of their watches also have an open face, which is sometimes called a skeleton face, I learned. But we'll talk about that in a second. So with the watch already in my mind and the uniqueness of the JORD watches, I wanted to check it out for myself. So sitting here today, I have one of JORD's watches. Coolest part about this video is JORD is also going to be sponsoring a giveaway for you guys, and the winner of the giveaway is going to get $180 towards whatever watch you want on JORD's website. So depending on what watch you want, you may be able to get your watch completely free. So stick around for the details. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to test the durability of some of the features just for fun. Inside the box, you open it up, and there's another box. Open up the other box, and there's the watch. Putting something in a box and then putting that box in another box, I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant!
Along with the watch, JORD does include some preservative oil for the wood on the watch, as well as a polishing rack. Now, the actual box that the watch comes in is pretty cool. It's engraved with JORD's brand, it's magnetized onto the top so it's going to stay put. Inside the actual wooden box that the watch comes in, again, there's the watch, comes on this little cushion, there's a card, some extra links, kind of a user manual, it kind of describes what watch you ordered, and a cleaning rag for the glass. Inside the box you have these little vents, and below that you have a drawer. Maybe you can put your polishing cloth or the finishing oil in there. The watch itself is pretty unique. Like I said, the part that I liked the most about it was the open face, also known as a skeleton face. Basically what that means is that all of the gears on the inside of the watch are exposed and you can see the internal workings of the watch. It's pretty sweet. For me personally, the first thing that my eyes are drawn to when I see the skeleton face watch are going to be the gears of the watch. And if you look really closely at the gears, you see these little things that look kind of like gems. So I did a little bit of research. Turns out that way back in the day, watch manufacturers used to use metal bearings, but the problem was the metal on metal friction caused those bearings to wear out prematurely, and then it led to a lot more costly repairs. So then down the road they switched to using gemstones like diamonds, rubies, sapphire, minerals that were a lot harder and could actually handle the friction. And for a while the only watches that could use the jewel bearings were the really, really high-end watches. But then they came out with a synthetic version of the gemstones, and that allowed them to be incorporated into a lot of different watches. So now if you ever have a skeleton face watch, you know why you have jewel bearings. The other part of the watch that I thought was super cool, probably one of its coolest features, is its self-winding, meaning it doesn't require a battery. Back when I was a kid, the only watches that I knew of that had the self-winding mechanism in them were the really high-end Rolexes. So when I saw that this one had a self-winding mechanism in it, I really wanted to see it. So the way that a self-winding watch works is as you walk and as you move your wrist, it actually charges. And what charges it inside of it, or winds it, is this little half circle piece of metal in here. So the semicircular piece in the back of the watch is what moves and winds the watch as you use it. So as you have it on your wrist and as you're walking, that piece gravitates toward the ground with, you know, gravity and everything, and that continuously winds the watch as you're using it. The other way that you can do it is you pop out the crown and you turn it clockwise, and that will also wind the watch. When the watch is fully wound, it'll actually last about 36 hours or a day and a half. So it's pretty good. Now the part of the watch that I actually wanted to test out was going to be the wooden band and the sapphire glass on the front. Sapphire, if you didn't know, is actually one of the hardest minerals on Earth, second really only to diamond. So it shouldn't scratch with keys, coins, a razor blade, or anything like that. But let's try it out. I really wasn't surprised that the quarter didn't do anything. Coins are pretty soft metal. Let's try out a key. It's a little bit harder. So far so good. The sapphire holds up to the key. Now let's try a razor blade. So even with me pushing up against the sapphire crystal with the razor blade, I was pushing pretty hard and it still didn't do anything. Most of the time if you're using a razor blade to scratch something, you can actually feel the razor blade digging into it. And that wasn't the case with the sapphire crystal. The razor blade actually glided over the sapphire crystal without catching on anything. So kudos to JORD for using high quality materials to build their watch. Now let's take a look at the band. As I expected, the band scratched with the quarter, with the keys, as well as the razor blade. But in most situations, as long as I wasn't digging into it and causing a really deep groove in the wood, it would kind of just rub out. One of the upsides to using a watch with a wooden band is if it gets the really light scratches or really light scuffs in it, you can just use the finishing oil, rub that in, and it's gonna look brand new again. Overall, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with the watch. It's not too heavy, feels good, looks good. I like it. I do wish that it was a little bit more water resistant, but this isn't really a watch you're going to be taking into the water anyway. The watch is splash resistant, but it is not water resistant. So it's going to be good if you're washing your hands and you splash a little bit, maybe get a little bit of rain on it. But it's definitely not a watch to go swimming with. For you guys to enter the giveaway, it's actually really easy. Just click the link in the video description down below. You'll be entered and then JORD will reach out to the winner. Thanks a ton for watching, guys. We'll see you around.